All right, so we've rigged 5 lines since I had arrived here in inland Northwest. The inland Northwest actually is referring to northeastern Washington and the panhandle of Idaho. So we've rigged 5 lines since I've been here, 5 high lines or mid lines, whichever you'd like to call them. They do push the boundaries a little bit. We do go a few hours away in each direction, but these are the ones we found, most of them being in that kind of 40-foot high range and 100 to 150 feet long. The first line that we're going to talk about is called the Cove Line. That is the original line that we rigged here. It was something that we were told about. I was told about before I did any other line. So that's this line right here. And the line is somewhere in between 80 and 100 feet long, maybe 30 feet, 40 feet off the ground. It's actually over water at a cove area on the Spokane River or in Long Lake. It's about a half-mile walk in from the trailhead, so it's not that far to get into. And there are 3 glue-in bolts on either side, so it's easy to rig with static rope. You either can drop the tag lines on either end and connect them in the water in the middle, or you can use a weighted sandbag at the end of the tag and toss it over that way, whichever way works better for you, depending on the season as well. The second line we're going to talk about is called the Indian Canyon line, and it's the one that we rig the most. It's the one that's closest to us. It's still within city limits, just out kind of inside Palisades Park area. It's pretty close to Mystic Falls, just a little farther in. It's really nice because we can rig to trees, so it's pretty easy to do so, and it looks like there's more opportunities to rig different lines in that area. This one's a little bit longer. This one's about 160 feet long, we think, and about 40 feet high. So still in that 40-foot range, but definitely a little bit longer, depending on what you like to do when you go slacklining. It's a super short walk from the road. You can park you're only about like a 2-minute walk from the actual one of the ends of the line, so that's nice. And yeah, tagging overall drop down the side, and you can just pull it over, and it's not too bad as long as you have 2 people. All right, third line is definitely a destination line, and I would say probably my favorite just because of the location, and there's like no people out there. You can just kind of hang out, and that is the Pothole Line. Middle of nowhere, kind of near Grand Coulee Dam. You have to hike about a mile in, maybe a little more, a little less. And it's just kind of out on its own. It's very desolate. It's about 150 feet long, which is nice. Still that 30 to 40 foot depth range. It's super easy to rig once you're out there. We do have there are bolts on either end of it, and you can just tie static line into those lines on either end, and then you can actually just walk the line across because it's pretty easy to walk around the edge of the pothole. So super cool spot, but definitely is a little ways away, a little farther west in Washington. All right. The fourth we're going to talk about is called, well, we have really no name, but it's in the Palouse. It's up the canyon a little ways, in a little area that we haven't rigged for quite a while, and I don't know when we'll get back to. Super cool. It's a gorgeous spot, very dry, not super far away from the Palouse Falls that is well known, but pretty far up. I guess it is a little bit farther up the canyon, no longer in the park and all that kind of stuff. And that line's probably about 100 feet long, 30, 40 feet off the ground, the same. Still, none of these have tons of exposure. Super easy to rig. You can just walk the line across, and it's bolted on either end. The rock is a little less favorable than most places, I would say, but definitely a cool spot. We rigged it twice, and haven't been back, but definitely a cool spot that I would just say Palouse Line. And then we got one farther up north, kind of near Ione. Thanks to my friend Matt, he rigged it first, and then we got to rig it one more time. And that's just like kind of below a bridge, and it's right over the Ponderay River, which is super cool. It's a lot greener spot. There's a lot more drastic scenery in that area. Probably about 160 feet long is kind of what we gauged it at with his rangefinder. And yeah, 40 feet high, but it's kind of like a raging river below, which is kind of sweet. So it kind of has a different feel to it. You can walk across the bridge, which is super cool. So it's not super hard to tag the line across. Like all the lines here, you generally need 2 people. The only one I've really done by myself is the Pothole Line, and that one is just super easy to rig. So that was really nice that way. But yeah, those are generally the lines that we rig in this area. We have a few more ideas, and one more should be popping up soon, but those are like the lines that we have right now that I can think of that we've rigged, I guess, in the last 2 years, because I've only been here in 2 years, and Slacklines Spokane has only been around for those 2 years, but we're growing and we're rigging more as we go. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and like and subscribe, please.